Hi everybody, this is Adam. Um, I have intentionally waited this week to post something because I was hoping more people would have a chance to sort of push through some of the hard things in it without the help. But I've seen enough people struggling that I'm going to go ahead and post this now. So this is week 10, the second round at car dealership. Let's dive into the requirements. I have the original uh, spreadsheet open here. So using Excel formulas, create a new column called New Sales Price. So it's going to look like this. It's going to be here, and I'll just put the word new in front of it. And it replaces the last two digits in each row with the sale price. There's two different ways you can do this. You can do a left. You can convert this is a number. There's two different kinds of base data types in Excel: numbers and text. Even dates, as you can see, are numbers. Okay, so I prefer to do this the math way rather than the text way, and I'll show you why. And so you need to take this number. Essentially, the fastest way to do this would be if the number's 27,340 and your age is 26, it needs to become 27,326. So what you want to do is strip these two numbers off. So you have 27,300 and just add 26 to it. So how can you do that? So we have a number right here, 27,040. So I'm going to show you a fast way to do this. Let's take this number and divide it by 100. And what do we have? Now, what if I take the integer of that number? Now, what if I multiply this number by 100? Oh, look at that. I have 27,000. And then I could add that equals this plus 26 for the age, whatever your age is. I'm not 26. And you can get the answer that you're looking for. And so all you have to do is take this and this and this and this and put it all in one formula right there. And it's really pretty straightforward. So for the sake of this thing, I'm going to use their existing things because I'm not going to show you exactly how to do that. I'm just going to put this in here so we have prices to work with. Okay. I'm also going to grab all these columns and double click them so that they're the right size. Okay, so that's the first one. Using Excel formulas, create a new column name called New Salesperson. So again, we have Salesperson, and we're going to make it New Salesperson. Now, I saw some people making this really more complicated than it is. You don't need a replace or a substitute or anything like that with this. It's literally an if statement, okay? If G2 equals Arthur, then put your name. Otherwise, just leave it whatever G2 is. Okay, that's as simple as this problem is. It's very straightforward. Okay. The next one up is the new sheet. You need to create a dashboard. So we've done this before. We've done dashboards. I'm going to create at the same time, I'm going to create a supporting data sheet as well because we're going to need that. Okay, and I'm going to also create some named ranges here as well. I'm going to create all of this as my stores. Okay, I'm going to create this month. I'm going to create, I want to go down, select all this. I'm going to create inventory type. And I'm doing all this because I'm going to need it in the future here. Okay, so just bear with us as we go through this. We'll create make. The named ranges just make everything so much easier. Create this as model. Okay, we don't need salesperson. We need new salesperson. We need gender. We don't need age, we don't need sale price, but we do need the new sale price. Okay, so now we have named ranges for everything. We could also format these as dollars. You could format this as a short date, I guess, something like that. So that's sort of formatted better. Okay, so now we create a dashboard and the names of all 14 new salespeople. So I do this on the supporting data thing. Like, we need the names of all salespeople. And we're also going to need a list of the stores. You can see we're going to need a store list as well. Now, if you're using Excel 365, Office 365, this is as simple as a unique, okay? And you just say the unique from the new salesperson. And, oh, did I select the wrong ones over there? Hold on, let's go back and check my dashboard for new salespeople. New salesperson right there. So what do we do wrong? Unique new salesperson. New salesperson. Supporting data. Oh, it says Unicode. Look at that. Equals unique. It changed functions on me. I need unique, not Unicode, from the new salesperson. There we go. Now, many people have said, yeah, but I don't have the same thing. Okay, no problem. If you don't have unique available to you. Okay, so let's do this. Let's say this equals, we're going to make it equal to our new salesperson. Okay, and I think we can go new salesperson like this with a hashtag. Nope. So let's just go over here and let's just copy all those names. Okay, and we're going to put them over here for a second, like this, in a temporary range, like that. And I want to copy the values. Okay, so you paste the values like that, and then you go to data and you go one of these. Let's expand this so we can see that remove duplicates. There's the thing right there, and just click OK, and there it is. And now it gives you the list of the ones without duplicates. So you can do this for every single thing as well. If you go to, I'm going to use that list there. I'm going to use unique, but there's no reason you can't. I would name this range, by the way, unique salespeople. Okay, and then you could do the same thing for stores, equals unique of the stores, right, like this, and it gives us, there's our stores. Okay, and so that's how you do this part of it. So you create these lists, and now on your dashboard you can use that as your data validation. Okay, input your list and you use your source as unique salespeople, like that. And now you have a drop down with, whoop, sorry, I have to put a formula in there. Go fix that. It needs to be equals. Let me change that. Equals unique sales people, like that. And that should get us what we want. And of course, we need to color code this so we know, don't forget which cell it is our input. Okay, so that's the data validation portion of how you get the unique names, whether you're using the old version or new version. Now you want to do a lookup on the new salesperson's, the average, the total of new sales for that salesperson. So again, here's the total of new sales right? You want to look for like my name, and you're going to add up all these things, the total of new sales. So that would be a sum if, okay? So on the dashboard, you do equals sum if, and you give it the range. And the range you want to sum, it's a range and criteria for the range, and then a sum range after that. So the range would be a new salesperson, and the criteria would be equals this thing, and then the range would be the the price. Let's see, what is it? It's the new sales price, right? This range right here, whatever it is, new sale price, like that. And if we select a name, hopefully it will give us a number like that, okay? And so the next one is an average, so you use the same thing except you use an average function instead, an average if, okay, for that. And again, it's range and criteria, and then the range you want it to average. So it needs to be just like this, new salesperson there, and then you want the average of the sale price, right? And then the total number of cars sold by that salesperson. So how are you going to count that from this data right here? You need a count of all the cars that they've sold. Well, you could just count their names, right? If their name's in here, that means they sold a car. So all you need to do is a count if, and the range would be this new salesperson, right? And the criteria would just be like this right here. And that should give you how many cars they sold. Okay, so there's how you do that portion of the dashboard. Now you do the same similar sorts of things when you're working on another drop down, but instead it's for the 3 stores. So you use the same supporting data, except you use the store list instead. And then they want the same information right across here. The total of new sales price, the average of that store's new sale price, and the total number of cars for that store. And so these 3 items, you'd like have 3 items like this, right? And we'll format them as calculations. Okay, and on this one you'd have 3 excuse me, 3 functions, but they would be looking at the store instead, right? But the same 3 things. Okay, now the owner wants to quickly find the number of cars purchased by a gender for a selected car or make. So please create 2 drop-down lists. So you, again, on the supporting data, you'd need gender. And you can do it simply like this. Just look up the unique in the array for gender. And there's your values. And you also want car make, right? So make, and you could say equals unique for the make, like that. Okay, and so now you hook up 2 input cells. Excuse me for 1 second. Feeling a little bit under the weather today. So now you'd hook up one of these to gender and one of these to the car make, right? And then you create a new cell, and the new cell is tied to both of these with a count ifs. Okay, and the criteria is the gender, the range would be gender, and is the gender this cell, right? And you'd go, it'd be something like count ifs, right? And the gender, and the criteria would be, does it equals this? And then the next criteria would be the make, right? And that's the range, and then the criteria would be this. And that should get you that result. Now if I put something in here like male, and if I put Toyota, it gives us a number. So you have to hook these up, but you can see it works. Okay. Okay, the next step is pivots. So now you're gonna go back to the sales data and you're gonna select all this data and you're gonna insert a pivot table and you're gonna say put it on a new worksheet. Okay, now you have your things. It wants 3 pivot tables, one for each one. Be intentional about placement for row and column headings. Make the data easy to read. The total new sales price for each new salesperson and inventory type. So you know you need inventory. Um, I'm going to put it in columns, but you figure out if it's in columns or rows that looks best. And it needs a salesperson. New salesperson is the one that we want in particular. And what you want is the total new sales price. And so you want a sum of the new sales price for each one based on those things. And of course, you can select all this and make sure that it's dollars. Okay, but that's that first one, just like that. New and used total, new sales price total for each salesperson. Okay, um, how about we throw these things away? Okay, so it's and now you create a different pivot table, and a different pivot table is number of cars sold by month and by store. So drag month to a column, drag store to a row, and you need a count of something. It doesn't really, let's do like a count of the order. Let's do, I think just count of order date should be sufficient. It doesn't really matter. And of course, these are not dollars anymore. And there's a count by store and how many were sold in each month. Maybe this doesn't look right to you, and maybe you go, maybe I want this here and I want it like this instead. That might be easier to read. I don't know. Figure that out. But that gives you a count of how many were sold by month by store. Okay. And so I'm going to leave you to the number of buyers, units sold by gender for each car and make and model. So drag, you need a number of buyers, that's your value, and you need gender in a column or a row, and you need a car make in a column or a row. Okay. And that's how you do the pivot. So there you go. There's the pivots. Okay. Criteria. Let's walk through it. On the sales sheet, created a new column called new sales price that uses sales price and your age. So we talked about how to do that. Created a new salesperson, replaces Arthur with your name. We talked about that. Create a new dashboard. The dashboard probably needs to be at the front for the um, professionalism. On the dashboard sheet, create an input cell with a drop-down list and names of all the salespeople. Okay. Create an output cell that displays the total average in this and the average sales, the total sales, the average sales, and the number of cars for that person. Okay. And then create a input cell with a drop down, and we talked about this for stores. And then each of the stores would be have the same values across here. Okay. On the dashboard, create output that displays the total sales, average sales, and the number of cars sold for each store. Create a dashboard input cells for gender and car make, which we talked about, and then tying again to the supporting data for the stuff you have back here. And then one output shell that shows the count for both gender and make based on a count if. Okay. The pivot table shows total sales by each salesperson and inventory type. Okay, so we talked about the pivot tables here. Okay. Um, This one shows the cars by month and by store, but I showed you how to make this one, and I walked you through how I'd make this one. Okay. Again, just pick out, they want model, they want make, they want gender, and the total number of buyers. So number of buyers is your value, And then the columns, you have to decide how you use the gender and the make and model of the cars in the columns and rows to make it look right. Okay. Remove the grid lines on the dashboard, adjust columns on the sales sheet, format cells with money using currency. There you go. There's the requirements. You guys can do this. Pivot tables are super important and super useful. They're the fastest way to analyze data. I actually use them all the time. I used one today to do a baseball analysis. No joke. So you guys can do this. I know you can. Um, have a great rest of your week. Bye.